Hey there, welcome on the spot. I'm here with Sasha Skendzel. She's a business owner and she's an entrepreneur. And the floor is yours, Sasha. Go to yourself. We'll go from there.
Yeah, well, thank you. Stephen, thanks for having me on. I'm super excited. I know that we have been working to get this together. We got to know each other through Instagram quite a while ago. I am, just like you said, an entrepreneur, business owner. I own a bar and restaurant, and also in it. So where I'm sitting at right now is actually the groom suite. We do a lot of weddings and large events, so we utilize these suites quite a bit. Yeah, and that wasn't my original career path, actually. For 22 years, was in healthcare. I worked as a medical assistant while I went through undergrad, became a nurse, worked as a trauma nurse at a level one trauma center at the University of Michigan. And then while I was in that nursing position, I did my master's degree to become a nurse practitioner, moved into oncology, really focusing on more on the critical care side, so inpatient oncology. And then while I was doing that, I worked to get my doctorate in the field, built out a survivorship clinic, and then was recruited over to the School of Nursing to be a full time professor. I was doing that at the time and building the rest of my life, building a house, all the things, and then ended up buying the vineyard. And so, of course, my life was taking this like very linear path, and then which has been really fun. I needed it. I needed a space of healing and a new opportunity to grow. And that's been what this is. So I bought the vineyard in December of 22 and completely gutted the building, remodeled everything. And this was a total startup. So I had the opportunity to learn business like 101, boots on the ground,
Yeah,
already in the fire as I'm kind of making it up. So yeah, that is my background in a nutshell.
cool. Good story to share with us. So you ready for on the spot? You ready to get these questions going?
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Okay. I was starting with this one. What's your thoughts and opinion on real estate market prediction future? What do you think about it when you hear the term real estate?
Yeah, so this intense question, I
Yeah.
guess, because I feel like a lot of us are really kind of waiting to see what the markets are going to do.
Mhm.
We've had a lot of things going on, I think, politically that sometimes can impact the markets. And so I feel like for me, it's kind of a waiting game. I've gotten lucky in the past with real estate purchases, and some of that was luck and some of it was research. And I can tell you right now, from what I can see, it's hard to predict, even if you're doing your research. So, Stephen, this is definitely more of your than it
Yeah.
is mine.
Yeah.
Um, but I tend to look for properties when the market is the lowest or even the lowest just in that kind of sub-region,
Mhm.
knowing that over time that will likely go back up again because everything seems to follow that same general path.
Yeah.
We might spend some time, on the lower end of things with those economic down turns. But other than that, that is how I have been successful with my property purchases. So that would be my answer. It's not the best one, but overall, I think things are less linear, I
Yeah.
guess, than I had seen in the past, just because I feel like there's so many other things going on.
No, it's your opinion. It's a good thought process. It's good what you thought you shared. You know, and we have cycles and that happens within like 10 years. So yeah. So let me ask you this one. Do you have a struggle that you want to share with us that you went through?
Oh, so many. I can't imagine anyone that lives life and takes on challenges that doesn't have a thousand struggles that they could share. Gosh. The one that I would share, I guess, related to maybe business was the navigating the loneliness of leadership. I think that when you move into leadership positions, you naturally kind of lose the comfort of peers that you can confide in. I think that we have a pretty close leadership team, and my team is all women, so we're women owned, led, and run. But even still, I think that in many ways you have to make some big decisions. You're still the visionary, and that feels like a space where you're flying solo often. And if you have a really great support team.
How many people are on your leadership team?
Yeah, so we have 6 in total. We have a lot of employees that kind of roll up to that leadership team.
Yeah.
Our bar and restaurant has the service staff, the
Yeah.
kitchen,
Yeah.
the grounds. With the vineyard, I have my farmers. They're both women as well, and they're tending to the grapes all throughout the year. This season, they're dormant here in Minnesota. It's pretty cold. So we have grapes that have actually been genetically engineered to survive the cold by
Wow.
going dormant. And so they oversee that as well as some additional kind of seasonal workers that
Uh,
support them. Then we have our setup and teardown crew, our logistics crew, our logistics team for events. So there's a lot of additional employees that are kind of dispersed underneath that
mm.
leadership team.
Let me ask you this. Do you have a quote that you want to live by and share for our listeners?
Yes. So I really firmly believe that you're never going to win if you don't start.
Mhm.
And there's about 7 or 8 different authors that quote some iteration of that. But the takeaway for me is if you don't start, you'll never get there. And I feel like a lot of people are afraid to
Mhm.
chase their dreams or to do something different or new, but
Yeah,
you're never, ever going to accomplish that dream if you don't at least try.
that's a good one. Let me ask you this. Is there a mistake that you regret you did in real estate or no?
Hmm. I've been really fortunate.
Yeah.
I will say when I bought the vineyard, even though I had done quite a bit of research, I had to make a decision pretty quickly. There were other offers that were being thrown in,
Mhm.
and I realized that that is a tactic. But
Yeah.
to really kind of move quickly, more faster than my analytic brain would like to. And there were just some questions that I didn't ask that I should have with regards to kind of building capacity, conditional use permitting. I bought a road and didn't realize it. So yeah, you can laugh about that one, Steve. I own a road that was included in the purchase, and there are many other homes
So it's like an
behind
easement?
my house that have easements off
Yeah.
of that road.
Yeah.
But I, at the end of the day, am responsible for the maintenance of it. So then I tried to sell the road to the township, and they had very little interest. In fact, they were going to charge me for the road. So I own a road. And
Okay.
I think that would be one of the things where if I could go back, I would have asked a lot more questions before throwing in that initial offer. And it definitely would have changed the amount that I was offering. So
Gotcha. Okay. Because you're on a road, that's pretty good though. So I don't know.
yeah, it's like the movie We Bought a
Yeah.
Zoo.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you this. What's your favorite show on Netflix or on TV nowadays? What are you watching? And you want to share with us?
So, yeah, I love White Lotus. So, like, every every drop of White Lotus, I'm, like, the first to log in. Like, I feel like HBO Max shuts down when
Yeah.
it's like the Game of Thrones
Yeah. Yeah.
phenomenon,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So, I'm one of those contributing to that. And
Okay.
then I am a true crime junkie, and I would say I don't have a whole lot of time, which
Okay.
is lame,
So
but
crime, like
being a
what?
business
So,
um,
so like Chicago Fire, that stuff you're watching, or other stuff, or is it different?
I love true crime.
Okay.
So, any type of true crime series that pops up, I'm always into. But
Yeah.
because I don't have a lot of time to watch TV or shows, I listen to a lot of podcasts. And my
Gotcha.
favorite one right now is Small Town Murder because I love comedy. Like it combines the two things that I have interest, like that I just find fascinating. Comedy is how I get through my day. I like making people laugh. For me, stand-up comedy is like such a release.
Yeah.
If even if you're having a bad day, throw on, the comedy channel and you're gonna feel better, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that podcast kind of combines the two. So they're comedians that present like true crime in these small towns. And I think you would like this too, Stephen, because they give an overview of that town and they go over real estate, population, crime rates,
Okay.
everything before you then get into like all of the things that led up to some crazy murder.
Gotcha. You have to check it out. Hear
Yeah.
about it. Cool. Let me ask you this. So if we introduce you, what's your walk-up song? What are you coming out to?
Ooh, if it was just a basic introduction where I didn't have to get pumped up, I would say it would be something a little bit softer, maybe like, ooh, just jazz or something like that. But if it's like I need to step on stage and I need to be on, because we know that in certain scenarios, you are 100%, right? You have to be fully activated, fully on. And the only way I can really get myself to that level for me, it's old school hip hop because I grew up in Detroit.
Yeah.
So I would say it would be Lose Yourself by Eminem. I literally, before I would even teach classes, sometimes I would listen to just old school hip hop, the adrenaline going, and then
Yeah.
I was ready to just be on.
That's a good one. Eminem. Now I'm guessing he's from Detroit. You're from Detroit. So is that close to you? Or is that kind of far away from where you were at?
So Detroit's like a grid, but I grew up at 5 Mile and he grew up at 9 Mile.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty
Uh,
close.
okay. Cool. Let me ask you this. What's something you did in the pandemic that you didn't do before that you still do today that you picked up?
Yeah. Well, the pandemic was wild for me because I was in the healthcare field. Plus, I had just taken a position as the director of clinical trials for our cancer program. And all of the clinical trials were shut down. We had to figure out how to do research and give people life saving medication when they have no other options. And I had to get each patient approved every single day on each of the 450 plus protocols that we had. And
Yeah.
we were doing wild things like drive by chemo and just things I never would have imagined in my entire life. But I think that a lot of those critical thinking skills and to pivot when you don't know like what your resources are going to be. Even for us, we didn't know if we were going to have PPE. I was sent to set up a research protocol using NK cells in our dedicated COVID hospital right in those early days. So I was like getting into full suits with respirator masks on, and didn't know what each day was going to look like. And I've learned to take that into my practice now as a business owner because I don't always have the answers for tomorrow and I don't always have all the resources, but I know that I can problem solve and get through it. And I really think the pandemic helped me to realize or understand that ability in myself.
Cool. That's a good one. Yeah, I forgot being a nurse, you were all over the place, and for you guys at mask, everything, it was, yeah, total
Yeah.
different, yeah. Let me ask you this, do you have a dream car?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone has a dream.
yeah,
I love cars.
yeah.
I would say a Lambo.
Yeah?
I mean, it comes close, like Lambo or Maserati. I really think, like, I love cars because I grew up in Detroit, Motor City, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And it used to, everyone had a car in their driveway, right? So, like with my first boyfriend, we worked on old Mustangs, and we would pull the
right,
engine out together. And I just remember thinking, like, how exciting it was to hear that engine fire up again, especially if it was like one of the 50 blocks, right? So for me, it's almost hard to pick, but I would say maybe the Maserati, like, just slightly higher. But I would love to drive it for, like, even 20 minutes.
have
Even
you
20 minutes would make.
yeah, so have you drove one or no? You haven't?
No, I
Oh,
haven't. Nope.
okay,
No.
alright,
And I love to drive a stick too. It's really hard to even find a stick these days, so
yeah,
usually you have to find, like, an older car and
yeah,
refurbish it.
cool. Let me ask you this, what's your, opinion of the EV car, and have you driven one? What's your thoughts on the EV car?
Oh, yeah. I have one. Well,
Yeah,
I needed to have a pickup truck, for work just because I'm hauling things for events and, hauling stuff from the vines, transporting grapes, you name it.
yeah,
And so I bought so it's the F-150 Lightning, which
okay,
is fully electric. I'm lucky because I have free EV on site at the vineyard
nice,
as part of a community program. This was determined to be a destination site. And so they put in a EV charging unit so I can charge my car for free at work. So that's kind of a beautiful thing to have. I know that there was a lot of concern moving into EV. Would these cars be powerful enough? Would you have enough opportunities to charge them? I have not really run into any issues. I have a cabin up in the Northwoods too. I put an EV charger up there, but I can easily make it up there. A single charge, I get 310 miles. And everyone always asks, well, what about the horsepower? I feel like when EV first came out, there was a lot of pushback that it was the girl's car or something, right?
yeah,
How much horsepower do you think my truck has?
like 480 horsepower, I'm guessing?
700.
Wow, okay. So you can tow a boat
Yeah.
then?
Yeah, oh, yeah. So I have a boat for my cabin. It's a
Yeah,
big tri-tune. It's just a easy boat, right?
yeah,
But incredibly heavy. Has no problem towing it.
that's cool. Yeah, out here
Yeah.
we've had them, and, it's up and down. People like them, people don't like them. The charging stations aren't as much, and people like 50-50 on them. They're split.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Let me ask you this, what age would you go back in time and live at? If you could go back in time, what age would you pick to live at?
This one.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like so much of your life up until 40 is survival.
Okay.
And then you start to decide what you want in your life. Like,
Yeah,
what do those next chapters actually look like? I'm not in survival anymore.
yeah,
I am established. I can, stand on my own feet and my life is my own. And so I wouldn't go back because I didn't have that insight and freedom
yeah.
before.
Okay. That's a good one. Good answer. Let me ask you this, do you have a failed field trip you did as a kid that you went on?
A favorite field trip?
Yeah.
You're going to laugh about this. The Jiffy Factory,
A factory?
the Jiffy, like
Oh,
Jiffy
okay.
cornbread
Yeah, 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 yeah.
in Detroit. Yeah. So I think that I enjoyed it so much because it comes down to like the Jiffy Factory and the Wonder Bread
Yeah,
Factory.
yeah.
The Wonder Bread Factory for me was actually like almost it was shocking. because I thought of bread as being so wholesome. And then you see this like bleached and it smells terrible in the factory. And it's just like this bleached flour and like nothing felt like wholesome about it, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Whereas the Jiffy Factory I loved, I think because they gave us like a bunch of free cornbread and stuff.
Okay.
How could you
Cool.
not love that?
So are they close to each other? The Wonder Bread and the Jif, those two, are they kind of spread out?
They're both within Detroit city limits. So
Okay. So
yeah.
I know Wonder Bread was made in Detroit. I didn't know that. You know, that was made there. Oh,
Yeah. And I would have to look that up for you.
yeah.
Jiffy for sure. But I just remember those 2. We did a lot of others. The
Yeah.
Henry Ford Museum would probably be my 3rd top
Okay.
because you got to see the like, very first Model Ts in the factory that they were made. There's really nothing quite like
Yeah.
that. Like for the Motor City, for Motown, that's right in the heart of it. So,
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let me ask you this one. So I'm guessing you're in the millennial generation, right?
yes,
Yeah. So
correct.
what's your thoughts on ChatGPT, AI, all that stuff for today with kids today that have the technology at their hands young? And when we grew up with it was we grew up with it later on, but what are your thoughts on that whole thing? You
Oh
know?
yeah. I mean, I started doing research using old Britannicas. Then we had the internet.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Pretty big. That was huge, right?
Yeah.
And now, like, sometimes I just wanna wear a badge on my shirt that says, like, I got all of my degrees without ChatGPT because I feel like it's so easy to lean into that. I have concerns that every generation always says the next generation isn't going to be as intelligent. They're not going to be, mentally challenged enough. So I would say initially, maybe I had some of those concerns with it that
Yeah.
people just wouldn't have to think or be as analytic if there was something doing that for them. But what I've noticed is I'm actually thinking more, and I'm thinking more because I'm now thinking, what is the key term? What are the concepts that I'm trying to combine? I'm more efficient with my thinking. And I think that using these resources has almost taught me that because you're trying to come up with the best and shortest way of creating something new. And you have to be very specific about what those key terms are, how you're arranging them, and so forth. So, um, I actually was very kind of against it and anxious at first, especially as a professor. I thought, well, let's just forget it. All the kids, we're just going to have to ban computers. We're going back to writing
Yeah.
up all of our papers by hand. But now, as a business owner, I lean into it so hard. I need to put together a JD and get it posted. I can have ChatGPT help me with that. Right.
Yeah.
And so, what used to take me 6 hours of work, now I can get it done in an hour and a half. And so for me as a business owner, it's really made a significant difference in terms of efficiency. And there's a lot of things that I could do with less support staff using that technology.
It's a good answer. Response. Let me ask you this. Is there a movie recently you saw that you liked?
This should be an easy one to answer. It
Yeah.
really should be. No, not
No.
recently.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like I've
Do you
I've
have one
seen
all time
several.
you like? Favorite movie all time? Yeah, favorite movie?
Oh my gosh, favorite movie of all time, movie that I could watch whenever, definitely Bridesmaids or Hangover 1. Again, I love comedy, but when it comes to maybe movies with a greater, deeper meaning, a more complex plot line, I would say Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
I think the acting in that was amazing. It's a movie that every time it comes on, I'm pulled right back into it.
Let me ask you this. Are you an Apple or Android person?
I'm Apple. I've been team Apple since my early 20s, since the very first smartphone and,
Yeah.
pod or whatever came out. So it just has been a part of my life for so long that I think it would be hard to change. I'm not anti-Android, but I do the entire business runs on Google Business and Apple.
So what was your phone before the Apple phone? What did you have? I had a BlackBerry before the iPhone. What
Did
would you?
you? Oh,
Yeah.
that's fancy.
Yeah.
No, I had a, what was it called?
Nokia?
Icon or so yeah.
Okay.
Nokia, I had a Nokia.
Yeah.
Yep, I had a Nokia. It wasn't a flip, but you could, like, move it apart type
Uh,
thing. So, definitely one of those. I really honestly, I held on to that non-flip phone for a very, very long time.
yeah.
I even had it painted in, like, glittery nail polish.
I think how mine, my BlackBerry dropped and the space bar key kind of broke. And so
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, I have to get a new phone. So that happened. So yeah,
Mhm.
but it was good at the time. So when you see the green bubble, what do you think of? When you see the green bubble, what pops up when you see that?
Like, green bubble new message.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's like,
Depends.
Yeah.
So, during the workday, it's like or if I know there's a wedding going on or a big event, what pops up in my mind is, "Oh, shit, I might have to drive out to the vineyard."
Okay.
Right now, I have, like, a really great team that covers
Yeah.
all the issues, right? But if I get that green bubble at, like, 10 PM on a Saturday,
Mm,
that shit definitely goes off in my mind.
yeah.
And then otherwise, if it's on Instagram or social, I'm always kind of curious, is it someone that's actually interested in the content that I'm posting, or is it just more of like a way to flirt?
Got
Online.
the DMs. Yep.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. You want to share like business tip or tip of the week for our listeners or life tip?
Yeah. You can do it all, but you
Yeah,
can't do it all at once.
that's good. How'd you come up with that one? Yes.
A professor that I worked with taught that to me when I was taking on a lot of like extra projects, research, new positions, all the things. And she reminded me, Sasha, slow down. You can do it all. You can.
Yeah.
You're capable. And I think sometimes we have to remind ourselves of that too. Like, you are capable. You can do this, but you can't do every single thing at once. And I took my team to Las Vegas last week for wedding MBA. We came back with a ton of ideas. But then all of a sudden, between the emails that accumulated, the work that needed to be done while we were out of town, and all of these new ideas, it felt overwhelming for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone was just like, I wanted, put these takeaways into action, but I'm like trying to catch up from last week and so forth. And I was like, the takeaways are still going to be there. They're going to be there next week, next month, 2 months from now. They
Yeah.
can be part of our 2026 goals. We can do them. We just can't do them all today.
So how was your Vegas experience? Did you see the spirit and any of that stuff, or was it more just work, or was any uh tourism, any of that, or not really?
Yeah, not really tourism. There was fun.
Yeah.
So I would say that I'm someone that appreciates a healthy balance between working really hard and playing hard. And so definitely hit the conference hard. It was 3 days of conference, but did we go out for nice dinners, get drinks, enjoy Vegas?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's great. Let me ask you this: who do you want to sit down and eat with, dead or alive? You could pick a person. Who would it be?
Yeah. I would say Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know. I never used to believe in zodiac signs.
Okay.
I come from the healthcare field, but the older I get, I'm like, wow, that's oddly accurate. And I am a Libra, and I like all things to be fair and equal.
Okay.
And
Well, I'm a
so,
Gemini,
like,
so
I
we're kind
love
of two
differences.
faced to
Oh,
say.
yeah.
Yeah. To say yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that healthy discourse and different decisions and different, views and so forth are what makes society amazing. Like, we
Yeah.
would never change and grow if we didn't have that. But at the same time, I also am somebody that like deeply cares about humanity and the rights of humans and the rights of women. And I think that he was really influential in how you can kind of peacefully get across a message that
Yeah.
all people are one. And under his leadership was able to change apartheid in South Africa. And that's amazing. And a few years ago, I had the opportunity to visit his jail cell. And it was just like one of these like really spiritually moving experiences. So wish that I had met him before he died, but I would love to invite him to the table after death to pick his brain.
Okay. Cool. Let me ask you this: so if you're stuck on an elevator, who do we stuck on an elevator with?
So this is going to sound crazy, but I would say it sounds so cheesy. I'm not a Swiftie, but I would
Yeah.
like to be stuck on an elevator with Taylor Swift
Yeah.
because I often sometimes think of like my drive as being based in like maybe a little bit of neurodiversity, right? And like
Yeah.
she is so driven and so passionate about what she does that
Yeah.
it seems a little on the spectrum to me. And so I would kind of want to know, like, are our brains alike? How does she think? What is her world outlook?
Yeah.
What is she like on a day-to-day basis? Is socializing hard for her? Would she rather be in a studio? So yeah.
Well, Taylor Swift. I was gonna think it'd be one of your walk-up songs, but I was off. So you know. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm
Yeah. Let
no,
me
I do
ask you.
really. I actually, as the older he gets, I like him even more.
Yeah. Cool. Let me ask you this. I'll ask you a sports question. So, what is your favorite team and player, if you have one?
Yeah. So that is a tough one because I've lived in so many different places. I grew up in Detroit. It was real hard to love the Lions.
Yeah.
At the time, the Red Wings were great. So I leaned more towards hockey then. Later in life, moved several times. Now I'm in Minnesota. The Vikings have been great in the period of time that I've lived here. So it's always kind of bittersweet when the Lions and the Vikings play.
Yeah.
Lions are finally a totally different team than when I lived in
Yeah.
Detroit, 15 years ago. And so
Mm.
it is definitely more exciting to watch now, but I'm a kind of a torn girly when they play. I've gotten to know Adam Thielen really well, just because we live in the same neighborhood and have kids a similar age. And so I tend to want to support him or at least tune into the Vikings and make sure
Yeah.
that they're supported. So
That's good. Let me ask you this. What advice would you give yourself at 12 years old?
that everything's going to be okay. I feel like every 12-year-old girl has no
Yeah.
idea what the future is going to look like, and everything feels so hard and so intense. You're not pretty enough. You're not good enough. You're not social enough. You're not popular enough. You're not smart enough. And I wish that I could just like spend 10 minutes next to my 12-year-old self and just like give them a hug and say, everything's going to work out and you are enough. Because I think that would go a long ways in terms of making some better decisions or keeping myself out of danger or out of trouble later in my teen years.
Let me ask you this. What do you love about the city you live in, and if you're a homeowner, what do you like about, being a homeowner?
Yeah. So city I live in, super convenient. It's a suburb of St. Paul. It's kind of halfway between the cities and the vineyard, which is lovely. It has everything you need. Two Targets, never an issue parking. I think we have four Starbucks, Whole Foods, you
Yeah.
name it, it's there. We have every single chain you can think of. But what we don't have is a soul. It's a beautiful, honestly, suburb. Beautiful,
Yeah.
gorgeous. It all expanded like in the last 12 years and it's exploding in growth now. I
Yeah.
mean, new shopping centers are popping up, new housing developments everywhere. All of the farmland around me is being gobbled up and turned into new developments. It's a totally different place than when I moved
Yeah.
here. But it doesn't have that like downtown soul that some of the older communities have. So you miss that. That's one of the things that I love about coming out to the vineyard is that the um the city is pretty small. It has a beautiful downtown that's well established and lots of mom and pop shops, no real big chains. So I it's kind of a love hate. Love the convenience, but hate that I don't feel like it has a soul.
Okay. Now, how far are you from the downtown city of Minnesota? Is that too far?
Yeah, so I'm a 20-minute drive to
Okay.
Minneapolis. Yeah,
Okay.
so not too bad. I used to do it every day when I
Yeah.
was in healthcare. I worked at the University of Minnesota, so I was downtown every day, right on the Mississippi River. I think that that suburb honestly is a great one in terms of distance,
Mm.
livability. There's tons of like walking paths, trails, bike trails, etc. Average housing, I want to say, is like 400,000.
Wow.
So it's like really a wealthier, I guess, neighborhood is what it's become. Kind of serves that population. And so there's a lot of resources. There's a lot of tax dollars. So there's a lot of resources. Schools are great. So many great things, but it's suburbia. And I think
Yeah.
I never aspired to live in suburbia, especially a place that didn't really feel like it had a soul for me.
Let me ask you this. Okay, if you weren't doing your current job right now, what would you be doing for work, you think, or see yourself doing in the future, maybe?
Yeah. So, I mean, I love like interior design. I love real estate. Honestly, that probably would have been, I would have gone full time, I think, into real estate
Yeah.
and probably had a small design studio as well.
Let me ask you this one. Do you have a favorite video game or board game that you played growing up that sticks out to you?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Favorite video game, you're going to laugh about this. It was Echo, like with the little dolphin.
Oh, yeah.
It's like one of the lamest ones, but I
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah.
And then favorite board game, Mancala.
Okay, I remember
My
Macala, the rocks.
my
Yeah.
friend and I used to just play
Yeah.
Mancala forever.
It was a good pool
Least
game.
favorite,
We used to play at the
yeah,
pool a lot. During breaks, swim breaks, we played Macala, and
yeah,
it was easy. It was just,
so
yeah,
easy, right?
yeah,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm. And then we
Okay.
played a lot of card games. So I was a
Okay.
Girl Scout, and we would secretly play poker with Fruit Loops. Got really competitive, little competitive Girl Scouts with our different color Fruit Loops that had different values associated with
Yeah.
them. Yeah,
Okay.
got intense.
Cool. Let me ask you this. What's your drink of choice?
Whiskey,
Yeah.
bourbon.
That's
Yeah.
strong, isn't it? I mean, I think it's stronger. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it is definitely strong. I grew up in Murphy. I'm an Irish girl,
Okay.
and everyone in my family has always loved whiskey. So if I had my choice to have a drink, it would
Yeah.
be just a little sipper of whiskey neat.
Okay. So Irish and what else?
Irish and Swedish, yeah.
You want to share a guilty pleasure with us? Do you have one?
What was that?
A guilty pleasure. Do you have one?
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, we all do,
Yeah.
for sure. I guess I should name one like an appropriate one.
Yeah.
I do really love to get my nails done and I love back massages. So
Okay.
like going to get a massage is not ever medically necessary, right? Like you don't need to spend money on that in life, but I'm a different woman when I
Yeah.
get a back massage.
Okay. Good to know.
Much better
Yeah.
for this world when I get a back massage.
Like favorite emoji. Do you have one?
Yeah. I like the Sherlock one,
Okay.
like the thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good
I
one.
like that. I feel like I overuse that one, but I'm always
Yeah.
like kind of posing somewhat funny questions, but
Yeah.
that have a much deeper, like, hey, let's think about this to like my team or friends or whatever. And so for me, it's definitely kind of symbolic of who I am.
Been using the salute one lately, and then I'll use like the three
Oh,
finger
yeah.
one. Yeah. People say
Yeah. Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
just give them a salute. So,
hmm
but yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
So let me ask you this. Nominate someone that could be on the show, be a good guest I could interview or get them on here. Do you have anybody that comes to mind, maybe?
Yeah. Dakota Vandenberg. She is my director,
Okay.
but she's been in business for a long time. She's a jack of all trades. She's been a model for more than 10 years. I mean, she's had big contracts like Budweiser.
Okay.
And her and I are like, she's like my right hand man. She's the other half of my brain. And so her and I are together a lot. But she is probably one of the most interesting, engaging, funny, beautiful people that I've ever met in my life. And she would nail this way harder than me. So I probably just nominated someone that would totally kill it and make me
Okay.
look a little bit embarrassed of it. But no, she's great because she's done so many different things with her life.
Yeah.
She's a carpenter. She makes half of our like wood stuff, and then
Yeah.
she'll go to modeling, and then she'll come back and she'll do all the things that are involved in being a director. But she'll like sell a wedding, or it's
Yeah.
amazing how diverse her skill set is.
And then what's up on the bucket list you want to do that you haven't done yet? I know you got a few things out there, but what's up on the list that you want to do?
hmm So, top of my bucket list, I love travel, and it's been a while since I traveled. I would
Okay.
really like to go to Greece or Italy within the next like 6 months, just because I've been most other regions, and this has kind of been on my mind for years and years and years. And I keep putting it off now because I'm working and I've been prioritizing like France, southern France, really kind of getting to know the wines, the varietals, and so forth there. Bordeaux was amazing. I just went there a little bit ago, but I would really love to get out to Italy and just honestly have a non work trip to enjoy the culture and all of the beauty.
So let me ask you this. How do we follow you and find our social media? Because you want to reach out to you and get in contact with Sasha, with IG handle or stuff like that if you want to, or your venue.
Yeah. I'm the unconventional female lead. So unconventional underslash female underslash lead. I came up with that because I think in a lot of ways I've learned a lot of leadership skills, and those that I subscribe to tend to be a little bit more unconventional. I believe in a flat leadership model where you believe that everyone around you on your team in a leadership role is equal to yourself, but as the kind of central person, you are there to like unblock the road ahead of them. So
Yeah.
they're the visionary leader in their space. It's on you to make sure that they have the tools and resources to be successful. So you trust them to be leaders in their space while you set the general vision. And so I have these unconventional ways of leading that I like to share with others, but I also love learning from others. So that's why I created that handle. It's currently under construction, so I'm taking a little break because I have several new approaches that I'll be taking to help support others in the business and entrepreneur community, but also to learn from them. So, yeah, in the next few months, I'll have some
Wow.
fresh content out.
That's cool. Yeah. We look forward to see that and stuff. That's good. Um, and then so yeah, we're on Spotify. We're on Instagram, TikTok, all those shows over there. And then follow us. Anything about vineyards or wine, reach out to a real estate, reach out. If I'm on the
Yeah.
spot right here, any final thoughts, Sasha, before we go?
I just want to thank you again, Stephen, for reaching out for
Yeah.
me. I'm so glad that this worked out, and I
Yeah.
really appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good interview. It was fun. Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, have a great weekend.
yeah, you too. So from on the spot,
Don't
right
party too
here.
hard.
All right, you too. All right.